You know, I've talked about having love-hate relationships with some of these bands. I love this band, but I really hate this over here about them, right? If there's the one thing I can't stand about the Rolling Stones, it is, as they've aged, their energies have been more and more focused on what they can make on a tour than what they can produce as true rock artists. You know, as I've already stated, this band has put out some amazing artistic statements even quite recently. But you know, it's been obvious to me since around Bigger Bang, every single time they show up, they're less tight, they're less professional, they have less energy, and yes, I know, the band is aging. But folks, this happens to us all. We all have to make a decision when we bow out of being active in whatever part of our lives that we can no longer be active in. But you know, it's not just the fact that this band has gotten less tight live over the last few years. They are beginning to hobble on stage. I just saw a video where Ron Wood hobbles over to Keith Richards and actually has to wave him visually to follow him so they can do some rock and roll jaunt over by Mick, who's busy singing. Embarrassing. Now, I know I'm an older rock fan, and you would think I'd be a lot more forgiving, especially for the Rolling Stones. But you know what? I will never let my age or my generation identify my musical taste or my expectations of past icons who are making a fool of themselves. When I do reach that period, folks, that'll be time for me to retire. Now, I know Keith Richards has proven many times that he is invulnerable to just about anything short of atomic warfare. You can't supply this guy with enough drugs to kill him. And in the past, he had anti-tank missiles to launch just by his approach in his guitar playing. He's not one of the greatest guitar players in rock, but as far as I'm concerned, he is one of the best riff masters in rock. But nowadays, when you watch him, he's playing with the arrangements. Now, you would think I'd like that because I've said so in past videos. Look, if they're gonna play the same songs, let's change them up. Give us something that we haven't heard. But these days, when you see him taking a different approach, what do we hear? Very sloppy guitar playing. Ron Wood's no better. As a matter of fact, the best stuff playing live at a Rolling Stones rock concert is the backing band. They're great. Now, at Mick Jagger's age, his voice is fine. First of all, the man never had the greatest voice in rock and roll. He had a good enough voice for the Rolling Stones, and it had a character, and it continues to show character. At this point, I think I'd just rather see Mick Jagger tour and play whatever he wants for a lower ticket price, and then I'll go see him. I will not go see this band in this condition. My, how the mighty have fallen, and they're doing so willingly. I am so tired of having rock icons wheeled on stage, sitting on stage, hobbling out on stage. It's embarrassing. What a joke. You know, part of live performance is the visual element of it, folks. You know, what I see is these old geezers that are hunched over because their Stratocaster's too heavy for them to play. Same old problem from the last 20 years, and one of our original rock bands can't rise above those meager expectations. Give me a freaking break. Now, we've talked about bands charging way too much. I've criticized Paul McCartney for $1,000 or more tickets. I've criticized Bruce Springsteen for $5,000 tickets. And if there were any acts that are even close to the majesty of these two artists, it would be the Rolling Stones. Are they worth the price of admission? No, I don't think so. First of all, Mick sounds great, he's still giving a great show, but Ron and Keith hobbling around on stage is not a visual delight. Now, for you Stones fans who think I've been a little bit too critical of the Stones here, please understand this. They are on my so-called Mount Rock Olympus of bands. I only have 13 bands on that list, but I gotta tell you folks, the Rolling Stones is the one band that sits uneasily on Mount Rock Olympus, or at least for me. They have been sometimes the most brilliant music out that week, that month, sometimes even that year. And they have also been quite a yawn fest at times over the years. Icons of rock, absolutely. Artistic masters, yes, at times. Fodder for our weekly gossip columns, always. And, of course, the original bad boys of rock.